Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I'm going to be doing some Blossom Gel Roses. I'm going to do them in a slightly different way to my last video on Blossom Gel, which has had a ridiculous amount of views and it still goes up like every single day. So thank you to everyone that has watched that. I'm not sure why it was so popular, but there we go. So anyway, I'm going to be applying Blackout, which is Gel Perfection's black gel polish, to two nails, because they're both going to be done in the same way, but they're going to look slightly different at the end because we're going to have like different coloured roses on them basically. So yeah, like I said, I am going to be doing these slightly different to the first time I did something like this on my channel. Just to mix it up a little bit, because obviously that video is already out there, so you can go and have a look at that if you want to see how to do it in a slightly different way. But just for now, I'm going to do this technique. So basically, first things first, I'm going in with my base colour, which is not a Blossom Gel or a Blooming Gel or whatever you want to call it. Is literally just a normal gel polish. I will only be doing one coat of this black because, as you can see, the coverage of it is incredible. It is really like a true black. It is brilliant. So I'm just going to be putting those into the lamp for 60 seconds, and then in the meantime, while we wait for those, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be using. So the main thing for this design is going to be the Blossom base coat from Bluesky, and it looks like this. I have the clear one, but I'm pretty sure they do a white as well. But like I said, this is clear. So it's perfect because you can use it over any colour and it won't like obviously hide the colour or anything. So I'm going to be using that. I'm going to be using Alaska from Gel Perfection. You can also get Blossom colours from Bluesky and probably other brands, but I'm going to be using normal polish in my base coat. And then once I've done that, I'm going to be using Magpie's Inkies. So I'm using pink, yellow and red for one of the nails. And then for the other one, just to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to be using purple, blue, purple, blue and green, just so it's a bit different. So they're the products we're going to be using. These have just come out the lamps now. So what I'm going to do now is apply my Blossom base. So I'm just going to pop a coat of this on top of this nail, nice and smooth. I want it to be really nice and even, so we haven't got any bits that are really thick or any bits that are too thin. You just want to apply it like you would any other gel really, but I just want to pay a little bit more attention to this because obviously this is the layer that we're going to be painting into. So you don't want to cure this once you've applied it. You want to literally just leave it on the nail wet as it is, because it's this gel that's going to give us the blossom effect. Now obviously this nail is quite large, so the larger the nail is and the more space there is, obviously the more design we've got to do sort of thing. So if you use a shorter nail, it won't take as long as this one will take me, because obviously there'll be less space for you to paint on. So I'm just gonna clean, just dropped that. I'm just gonna clean my palette because I've got some colours on here because I've been filming for the last couple of hours. So I'm just gonna take all those off. I'm just going over with a lint-free wipe so my palette is nice and clean. I'm going to get some of my white gel polish and place that on my palette. You really want to make sure that you've got enough for the whole nail, because obviously the blossom effect is going to happen as soon as you apply your gel, and you don't want to give it too long to move around because you want to be able to cure it when you're happy with it. So I'm just going to use, and obviously the blossom base, once you basically like, what's the word, cure that, it's not gonna do a blossom effect after that. So if I usually if I'm doing designs, when I'm happy with it, I can flash cure and then I can carry on going and blah blah blah, but this time if I flash cure, it's going to stop the blossom process, so we don't want to do that. So we need to do it all in one go. So here we go. I'm just going to create a rose shape, that made no sense, a rose design. So I'm doing it, like I said, nice and quick because it's going to move straight away, so we don't have a huge amount of time to play with this. So I'm just going straight in with my white. And I'm wiping my brush off quite often because I don't want too much of that blossom gel to get on my brush, because then it'll be difficult to get the white to look white because it'll be like sort of diluted with the clear of the blossom gel. So just bearing that in mind. Creating my rose petals, And every time I do a rose petal, I am wiping off the excess from my brush to make sure that there isn't too much blossom gel on there. Super easy. It's almost like it naturally gives like an abstract finish, so you don't really have to worry about getting anything perfect, because that's the whole point of blossom gel, is it sort of does its own thing and you don't really have to worry about it. So I'm just gonna create some more down here. Super easy at the bottom because obviously it's really small, so you don't have to worry too much. And then finish off at the top. So I'm just pressing down quite hard at first when I touch the nail like this, and then pulling through both sides to get it thinner through the edges. And I'm just going to fill that gap up there. And that's that. So I'm going to pop that in the lamp for a full cure now, which is 60 seconds. And then this one's just come out of the lamp because the black is now cured. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on this one. Super, super easy this is. Obviously the quicker you work the better, because like I said, the blossom gel does blossom your colour straight away. So the longer you leave it, the more it will blossom. The more gel polish you apply to your blossom gel, the more it will blossom. If you use a really small amount, it won't quite spread so quickly. So there's always that to bear in mind as well. So I've put my layer of blossom gel on this second nail, and I'm going to do the exact same thing as this one with this one as I did, I've got a hair on my hand, as I did with that one just. So again, starting in the middle first of all. And then once I've done that, I can then start my petals. Again, starting out by pressing down, pulling through both sides. And this is how I do my roses, whether I'm using blossom gel or not, is do that like thick bit with my brush and then pulling through it to make that little middle bit a lot thicker. Just making sure that we do them in the opposite way every time, so we don't ever have a petal that's like in the exact same place as the one before. And again, cleaning off my brush every time I go through it to make sure there's not too much blossom gel on my brush. Going back up here, didn't have enough on my brush that time, so again, going in, pressing down and then pulling through both sides. Pressing down, pulling through. And I'm just doing that along the whole nail. Just going to keep pulling through. And then once more just up here, pull that down, and then once I'm happy, again, pop it in the lamp. So like I said, obviously these nails are quite large. It wouldn't be quite as blossomed if it was a smaller nail, because it wouldn't have as much time to move as much sort of thing. So obviously while I was up here doing these bits down here were blossoming and things like that. You can go in now and just touch it up a little bit with your gel polish just to create a little bit more definition if you want to. So we're going to do that just because why not? So I'm literally just going to basically repaint the rose, but we're going to do it about like whereabouts our original ones would have started. So it looks like you've got like the depth of each one, but it has sort of spread to wider. Just so we've got a bit of, what's it called as well, like definition. And a bit more depth to the nail. Just like that. And again, I'm just pushing down in the middle area and then pulling through to get it thinner. Not sure if it's focused or not. So pushing and then lifting and dragging towards the end. Pushing the middle, lifting up and then pulling towards the end of the petal. You don't have to do this step, you could have just left it exactly as it was. It really doesn't make a huge difference. I just find it's nice to just add a little bit more. Especially because obviously the Blossom Gel will dilute your white a little bit, so it's nice to get some bits in there that are properly white. Just going to take that a bit further round. Get that thinner. And then once I'm happy, I'm going to pop that into the lamp for another full cure. We're going to do the same thing with the other one. This one's a little bit messier than that, so it'll be a bit harder to pinpoint where the sort of petals would be, but it's all right, we'll just create them. It's all very abstracty with Blossom Gel, and that's the joy of it, because you can't really go wrong. Again, just making sure that middle bit is higher and then bringing it round to more of a point at the end. And then we can do the next stage, which is super easy. Can't really go wrong with the next bit. You can do a variety of things at this point. You can leave it exactly like this if you want, but if, like me, you want to add a bit of colour to it, you could use jelly polishes now to apply over the top to create some colour. Because obviously you'll still be able to see the black through a jelly polish because they're not completely opaque. You can do what I'm doing and use some inks. You could use like a pigment, like a dust, like the Aurora ones from Tia's Beauty, that sort of thing. You could also, I've just put my finger in that by accident. You could do what I did on my last video that I did this in, and you could use the Blossom Gel polishes because they're basically like jelly polishes, so they'd give the same sort of effect as a jelly polish. You could create your jelly polishes by just using some normal gel polish and mixing with a bit of clear, and then that would create a jelly effect. So there's that. I'm going to pop that in the lamp. But like I said, I'm going to go in with ink, so I'm literally just going to wipe the tacky layer off these nails. This one is fully cured now, it's just come out of the lamp. So I'm going to wipe my tacky layer off and I'm going to go in with my inkies. So like I said, I'm using pink. I'm just going to give them all a shake to make sure that the pigments are all evenly distributed and not sat at the bottom of the bottle. So all the liquid that I'm going to get hold of is just clear. And then I'm going to do my inks. So I'm going to start off with the middle and we're going to start with red in the centre. And as I get further out, I'm going to apply different colours. So we're going in with pink second. And this gives a really cool, like, abstracty look with the inks. And then on the very outsides, I'm going to do the yellow. Just the very outside, because I'm not a huge fan of yellow, but I do want a bit on there just to brighten it up a little bit. And then again, going in with the others, so we're going to link the yellow and pink together. And then more red in the centre. And then once I've done that, I'm going to go in with a brush. And we're going to just do a little bit of a blend job. Nothing crazy, because we do want them to sort of look a bit like abstracty. We just want to get rid of any really thick, obvious lines. So I'm just going in with my brush with a bit of acetone on it. You can also use, what's it called? Isopropyl alcohol at this point. So I'm just going in with that, blending these colours where they meet each other a little bit more. There's a really tiny amount of acetone on my brush. We don't want to use it to remove the ink, we just want to sort of blend it in a bit better. So don't worry, because it will look a bit strange at the moment, but when we top coat it'll all come together. So once I've done that, we've got our colour going on and it's all nice and basically stained. I can move on to the next nail. Obviously you can keep applying your your inks as you go. Like if you want a bit more colour, you can pop a bit more on, but I'm going to leave that one as it is. So pop the lid on the inks that I've just used, because like I said, this one I'm about to do now is going to be slightly different colours. So we've got purple, blue and green for this one. So I'm going to start with the purple in the middle, then go to the blue, then go to the green. So again, I'm just going to wipe the tacky layer off this nail, just so the inks can sit on the nail a bit easier and blend together a bit easier as well. So I'm just going to apply the purple in the middle. I'm applying it in like a patting motion, because that releases a bit more colour than if you were to just do this, because then you're just rubbing it off at the same time as applying it, and obviously that's a bit pointless. And each time I apply some, I am going to let it sit for a second before I apply the next one next to it. So I'm going to go in with the green on the very outside now, because obviously if I applied the blue to wet purple, they just join together sort of thing and wouldn't be like two separate colours. They'd all just merge together into one. So I'm just going to do the green on the outside, again doing the colour that I don't really like on the outside, and then I'm going to do the blue but start off where the purple is, so I can wait for the green to dry a bit as well. And then once I've done that, we do what we did with the last nail, just blend them together a little bit better. And then that's it. We just need to top coat, and trust me, the top coat works wonders. If you're wondering what the hell is going on with these nails at the moment. So I'm just going to move those out of the way, because if you've ever dropped any inkies, you'll understand why. It's an absolute nightmare. So I'm just going to clean off my brush from the last coloured inkies, and then make sure that I've got enough acetone on my brush to move this around, not too much where it's going to take it off. So I just want a wash of colour, which is why I said like I recommend like jelly colours and stuff like that, because you still get the colour, but it's like a minimal amount of it, so it just gives a hint of colour more than anything. So once I've done that and I'm happy with it, we can then move on to top coating. Just patting over it now just to blend it all out a little bit. And once I've done that, that's what it will look like. So there's the two nails. So I'm just going to top coat them now. So I'm going to top coat this one first, just because I don't want to top coat that one until it's completely dry. So let me just hold this like a normal person instead of all weird. So I'm just going to pop the top coat straight on, and I'm just floating it over, because I don't want to drag the ink anywhere, because I'm happy with where it is. And I just love this sort of effect. I think it's so effective, but it is relatively easy, to be fair. So I'm going to pop that into the lamp for a full cure. And then just popping this in as well. And then I will show you what they both look like when they are finished in the lamp. So here are the finished designs. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely something different, that is for sure. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back really soon with another one. Bye.